me a favor. I'm going to have everyone open up your today's vehicle page. And from your today's vehicle page, I would like you to launch your retention dashboard. So from your today's vehicle page, click on the top left-hand corner, go ahead and select CRM menu, which is going to bring you into your CRM dashboard. I will launch a poll really quick so we can make sure that everybody can interact when you have launched your today's vehicle page. Your retention dashboard. Please let me know by completing the poll, and then we'll get started here promptly. Awesome. Thank you guys. You guys are super quick today. So where I'm going to start today is first is what we're going to learn. Today, the topics that we're going to cover is going to show you what is completely automated for you, what is manual, and how you guys can achieve that on your end, how we can create a campaign to send out to our motorists via email and text message, and then also we're going to look at some reports and how you guys can access them. Now again, for those of you, please make sure here's a screenshot. You can see what that CRM menu looks like, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first area we're going to start today is what is automated for you. When it comes to appointments, there's a couple things that AutoVitals will do for you. As number one is you have the ability of confirming appointments. That would be if somebody had requested an appointment, let's say through your website, through AutoVitals, and or a service reminder, some sort of communication, we want to make sure that you can confirm that appointment. Why? So we can communicate that back to your customer and they are aware of exactly that you confirmed and they can come in that day and time works for you. The way you're going to do that is, as you can see on this screenshot and throughout this presentation, I will show you what it looks like, and then we'll go into a live environment and do it as well. So from your today's vehicle page, your menu bar is going to be your toolbar and where you're going to be able to access quick links to get where you need to. Number one is from your today's vehicle page menu bar, you're going to go ahead and click on confirm an appointment. So if we do that together, we're going to go here. We're going to confirm an appointment here. That's one way you can do this. Now, there's also, anytime you have a request that comes in, you're going to be notified of that request directly through your conversation center. The conversation center is located, again, on your today's vehicle page in this area here. All incoming messages will funnel in here to give you the ability to confirm that appointment. Now, the next area that we want to focus on is how we can quickly take action if you would like to see your appointment request in addition to confirming them directly through your conversation center. So as you can see here as an example, number one is you're going to get an alert there's an appointment request. That alert will come through your conversation center, but in addition, it will go to your email we have on file, which is what we call is your fail-safe email. From there, what you're going to do is you can click directly on this link. This link is telling you the date and time the appointment request is being requested, and at this point in time, you can confirm or reschedule that appointment straight through your calendar. One of the things that I want to advise you of is if in fact you need to reschedule an appointment request because that time doesn't work for you, you can absolutely do it as you see right here directly through this calendar. My suggestion for you would be to contact your customer via phone or text and do so. Why? So you can eliminate the back and forth and make sure you can easily identify a good day and time that works both for yourself as well as your customer. Now, the other thing that I want you to know is if in fact you guys are utilizing your point of sale system to schedule appointments, we will take the appointments that are scheduled through your point of sale system and convert them into what we call here is your Google Calendar, so you can see that as well. If you are scheduling, again, in your point of sale system, we will automatically send your motorist a confirmation email without you needing to confirm that because of the fact you're physically scheduling that on your own. So one thing to please keep in mind is if you schedule through point of sale system, I would not recommend that you confirm your appointment through here simply because of the fact that you're already confirming it by placing that appointment in your system. And if you do it here, you're now going to send your customer a duplicate communication. Within our system, we also offer scheduling. Now, scheduling can be automatic and or it could be manual, depending on what fashion you're doing. So for example, if you schedule in your point of sale system, of course, it's automated, that converts over to Auto Vitals. We go ahead and take care of and let your customer know there's an appointment scheduled, and we confirm that for you. However, there's going to be some of you folks that are maybe writing, in a calendar. Let's go digital, and you have the ability of scheduling directly through Auto Vitals. The way you'll do that is you'll click on your menu bar, you'll go to schedule an appointment, and at this point in time, you're going to see the screen that looks like this pop open. You can search by last name and or phone number. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one moment here and do it together. So from my today's vehicle page, I'm going to go to my menu bar and click on schedule an appointment. I'm going to schedule for Mr. Smith because we all have a Smith in our system. Once it pulls Mr. Smith up, what we're going to have, or Miss, is a list of everybody with that last name. You're going to find the correct customer, the right vehicle, and we're going to hit schedule. At this point in time, a few things will happen. Number one is we're going to give you all customer information directly in here. You have the ability of seeing previous repair history if needed. This area is going to let you know what items are due. If it says regular maintenance, that's equivalent to an oil change. If we see any declined services, future recommendations, those will be listed here as well. You're going to select what date you want to schedule that appointment for. We're going to select the preferred time. We're going to hit schedule. So really quick and easy. You have all the information you need here. Now, what you might be wondering is what this gray box is. In order for you to have access to the Google Calendar that, again, will show you all appointments that are scheduled through your point of sale system and or anything that's been scheduled through Auto Vitals, in one view, you'll have access to it here. Now, the reason why my area is gray is because I'm not logged into a calendar. So in order for you to see your Google Calendar, which again, you can identify and see all appointments that are scheduled, whether in point of sale or through Auto Vitals, it is extremely important to make sure that you are logged into your Google Calendar in the same browser as you are your today's vehicle page or your dashboard. Now, let's talk about when and how we send out appointment confirmations and reminders. So number one, the moment there's an appointment scheduled through your point of sale system, Auto Vitals is immediately sending out a confirmation to your motorist. One thing to be very cautious of, sometimes we move appointments in our point of sale system for carryover work. If we don't complete it today, we're going to move it to tomorrow. I need you guys to be cautious of that. Auto Vitals is looking at appointments. We don't understand that you might be carrying work over. If, in fact, you're moving an appointment from one day to another, or you're moving it from one time to another, Auto Vitals sees that as a new appointment, and we will send out confirmation appointment reminders to your motorist. So please be cautious of that. Now, when outside of point of sale system, when Auto Vitals will send a confirmation about an appointment request would be when we see that you confirm the appointment through either A, confirming an appointment here, or B, doing that through your conversation center through your Google Calendar. Now, as far as appointment reminders go, we do two types of reminders, email and text. If you have an appointment that's scheduled 2 weeks or further in advance, your customer is going to get a reminder about 1 week prior to their appointment. In addition, they're going to get an appointment reminder 24 hours prior. If, in fact, you have an appointment that is scheduled less than 2 weeks in advance, let's say 1 week, your customer is going to get one reminder. It's going to be a text appointment reminder 24 hours before the appointment. One thing to keep in mind, in order for Auto Vitals to send an appointment reminder to your motorist, you must schedule the appointment at least 2 days in advance. If, in fact, the appointment is not scheduled 2 days in advance, we will not be able to send out an appointment reminder. Now, we've talked a little bit about the Google Calendar. Again, this is an area where you have visibility to any appointments that are scheduled, whether they're scheduled through AutoVitals and or your point of sale system. All appointments are automatically sent in here. If in fact you're not sure how to access your Google Calendar, as stated here, you can type in calendar.google.com and log in, or you can utilize the apps and do the Gmail credentials to log in. It is really important to make sure you have this calendar up so you have visibility of all appointments at all times. And again, in order for you to have the correct visibility and not a gray, box like I did, you need to make sure you're logged into your Google Calendar in the same browser as your Today's Vehicle page or your dashboard. The next area we're going to talk about is I want to show you what these appointment reminders look like and the information that is within the reminders. So we call these appointment reminders smart reminders. Your motorist can see in advance exactly what they're coming in for. In addition to that, any items that are currently due on the vehicle. Plus, if we're pulling in, there's future or declined services that we're pulling from previous inspection sheet, we can see that information as well. So let's take a look together. Number one is you're going to see, like you see here, if we're pulling information from previous inspection sheet, you're going to see if it's critical or future. You're going to see the topic, the observation, which would be the condition. Again, SmartFlow users, extremely important to make sure we edit these pictures because, again, we are going to re-educate the customer what we talked about on that last visit through an electronic communication. We want them to understand what we're showing them. Technician's notes made for the 6-year-old, very clear and concise so customer can understand it. And then in addition to that, we're going to gauge their interest. We are going to ask them, do you approve this recommendation? Do you want more information, or is this information not needed in time? There's a twofold benefit for you. Number one is your customer is given this information before they walk in your door, especially if it's been, let's say it's been 6 months since they've been there. Again, we're re-educating them and passing them back the information that was discussed at the last visit. The other fold to this and the benefit is your advisor also knows ahead of time what the customer is interested in and discussing items at drop-off to make the conversation more meaningful and less stressful for both you as well as your motorist. Now, where this information lies is on your Today's Vehicle page. You guys have an area that's going to show you today's appointments and a few others that we'll cover here shortly. What you see right here is you have a concierge button. These concierge buttons are going to tell you information. Number one is, as you can see here in this slide, we have this red circle. If it says NO, that's simply letting you know that the customer has not opened their communication. So this would be more of internal information for your advisor to know what's outstanding and information on that vehicle. Now, one of the worst things we could do is ignore these concierge buttons and not see information that our motorist is communicating to us. If in fact your motorist is taking action and telling you one of the 3 items you see listed in here, it is imperative. You're going to see a number here. You need to click on that, and that's going to let you know if in fact they've approved additional work, they need more information, or if they're telling you they don't need it at this time. This will again prepare you for that conversation at the counter. If they're approving additional work, you need to make sure that we're aware of that. If they want more information, we need to provide that information. And if in fact they told you they don't need it at this time, I would personally identify, has it been performed? Did, maybe my husband completed that. Did they go to another shop, or do they just not see the importance of correcting that? If they're truly declining it again and it hasn't been resolved, I would reinspect and present it again for an additional sell and show them the trends and the progression during the approval process. Now, we also send out automated service reminders. The reminders are sent out twice a month. We send out service reminders the first and third Monday of every month. Now, we communicate to your motorist about 3 to 4 weeks prior to the services being due. Now, it is important if in fact there is declined services or future recommendations that we clearly document the information for the motorist and or what we call would be the layman, the person that doesn't understand the lingo we have here in the auto industry. So please make sure that all recommendations are clearly stated appropriately so the customer can understand them when we remind them to get them back in your door for the services. Right here, you see an example of 2 email reminders we sent out and a text message. So I will walk you through those here right now. Right here would be an email reminder letting your customer know what vehicle or vehicles are due, what's due, when. Over here is a sample of what the text message would look like. And then also we have something called a brand manager that we will visit shortly. You have the ability of customizing your communications, and I highly recommend you do so. So this is an example of a customized email reminder versus one that's standard through AutoVitals. Now, every one of them has calls to action, review all. Click here, review all. What this is allowing them to do is open up what we would call is a, it's showing them exactly what services are due. So you will see down at the bottom of all reminders, this is called a campaign landing page. It will show them exactly what services are due in a different fashion and format. And we'll look at that here in one moment. Now, what we're going to do is take one moment to take a look at exactly what I mentioned was what that campaign landing page looks like. Again, this landing page is responsive to any device that your motorist is looking at, whether it's a smartphone, a laptop, a desktop, or maybe an iPad, right? Form-fitting and responsive. Couple things that you're going to see. Number one is up top, we want to make sure we're branding shop and we have information. Who are you, how they can contact you. This area is going to show you how many vehicles are due, what services are due, and when. You have a schedule appointment button, your calls to action. This button, as you'll see as I play this video and walk you through these reminders, this button will continue to float at the top. So it's always visible, again, for that calls to action. One of the things that's extremely important is customizing the communication for your motorist. It is very, very important that all technicians are taking photos of the exterior of the vehicle through the SmartFlow application. Why? So when we communicate, they can see exactly what vehicles do, and there's a photo of their own vehicle. Now, if we look a little bit further down here, what we're going to do is that we pull in recommendations, like I had mentioned earlier, from point of sale system, in addition to your inspection sheet. So what you can see here is a sample previous inspection recommendations. Here's your topics. Again, having that picture in there with those edits for the layman to understand what we're trying to convey through our photo, our notes, and we're asking them once again, do you want to approve this? Do you need more information? Or I don't need this at this time, gauging the motorist's interest. Now, what we're going to look at in 1 second is going to show us what the recommendations look like when we're pulling it in from point of sale system. So number one, recommended jobs is how it's listed here, and it's going to show them exactly what jobs are listed. If they want to approve and have these services performed, they need to check on the boxes, and that will again communicate to your advisor that they have approved additional jobs. Like I mentioned, you have your call to action, your schedule appointment here, and we also have it down here. In addition, if in fact we send a service reminder to a customer that no longer owns this vehicle, they can select it here. AutoVitals will automatically communicate that to you through email in addition to your communication center. Plus, we will deactivate that vehicle for you on our end, so we're not sending reminders to vehicles that this customer no longer owns. In addition to that, we're going to pull in random reviews, good reviews, to show your customers that you guys take good care of your customers. And then we also have calls to actions down at the bottom. So as you can see here, your customer can click to call, they can email you, or they can visit your website. We also do automatic thank yous. Thank you is part of your pickup conversation that will let your customers, one of the things we highly recommend is when they're picking up their vehicle, please take a moment to let them know that they're going to receive a thank you email from you, and please take a few minutes to let you know how you did, right? We want to make sure we retain our customers and that they're satisfied. If not, we get feedback so we can correct that. Now, thank yous will go out, via email and text message once the repair order is closed. You will have a conversation during onboarding with your product advisor and trainer to discuss the different options and settings that you have, and also how we can do review distribution. Just a quick note, when I talk about review distribution, we can distribute reviews to Google, Facebook, AutoVitals, and Yelp. My recommendation would be to have reviews go directly to Google and AutoVitals, but nonetheless, if you would like to change your distribution or have that conversation, please discuss that further with your product advisor and trainer. And as you can see on here, we're going to display basically a visit summary. In this area here, I talked about review distribution. The way our system is set up by default, any motorist that has a Gmail email address will automatically be directed to leave a review on Google. If in fact you are utilizing our full program, our Digital Shop Pro, what that is going to give you is you also have access to a loyalty points program. We will tell them how many points they currently have, also how they can add points. In all reality, we want them to refer a friend. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one moment here and I'm going to play a video based on our best practices and recommendations and how we recommend you guys handle the motorist at the pickup conversation when they're getting their vehicle.
Our inboxes are filled with lots of emails, so it's important that the thank you email is sent right after the vehicle has been closed out. Let's see how Charlie experiences the thank you email at her phone.
I wish everything was this easy. Said it before and I will say it again. I will never go to another shop. Frank is so thorough in explaining to me what's going on with my car and showing me pictures from my inspection. I feel safe with my car in their hands.
The thank you email is made relevant by reinforcing the services performed and creating a visual of the problems solved. Existing recommendations, which are often declined jobs, become more important to the motorist when backed up with inspection results. You can even use a built-in loyalty point program, rewarding motorists who bring their vehicle in for regular maintenance as recommended by you. Motorists are more inclined to leave a review, which will boost your online reputation either by increasing the number of Google reviews, and if the customer doesn't have a Gmail address, the reviews will still be featured in the Google search. So to continue that relationship building process that we started with the motorist first searching us online, to coming into the shop, the inspection process, reviewing the recommendations, and when they get their thank you email after they leave us, it's not just a generic thank you saying, please review us. So when a motorist opens that thank you email, there'll be an area where it shows the vehicle health as a percentage. So you can imagine that if it's less than 100%, they'll want to get it up to 100%. The prior recommendations of work needed is going to be there. They'll be able to access a previous inspection too, so they can be reminded of the recommendations we're making and why, with those educational videos again. And most importantly, the recommendations for the next service visit are listed as well. When they click to leave a review from the thank you email, if they have a Gmail account, it's recognized. And for the few people that don't have a Gmail account, they still get the opportunity to leave a review, and it goes directly to our website, available to the public. So we're building this trust, and we keep educating the customer, and everything we've been telling them is included in emails, keeping the information at their fingertips.
Now, for those of you also that have our full package, one of the things that will take place is for the very first time, we send out a thank you email to your motorist or text message. We will also send them an activation email, which allows them to activate what we call as our online service center. Inside of the service center, there's quite a few benefits for your motorist, and I'm going to go ahead and list a few of those for you. One of those would be the ability to access all past service history, see a recap and summary of what services were performed, and also access any previous inspection results. They can view any TSBs and recall information on the vehicle. If in fact you have loyalty point program, they can see loyalty points here and redeem them directly here. They can request and schedule an appointment online. In addition to that, is they can edit any of their personal contact information over here as well. Now, one of the things I do want to apologize, if in fact you guys have any questions during this webinar, we have Bill Connor that has been so nice to join us. He is a moderator. Please chat any questions that you might have, and he can definitely get you taken care of. And again, I apologize for just letting you know that right now. What we're going to cover at this point is going to be what's manual for you. First and foremost is exit scheduling. We have an amazing exit scheduling tool for you guys, and in my opinion, it's really, really imperative to secure the next visit. It's one of the more challenging things for us in this industry. And I hate to say it, but it's really important that we apply kind of the same process as your dentist. One of the things we get challenged with is they might not be due for another service for 3 to 6 months, maybe longer. We don't know what we're going to be doing during that time unless maybe we have a vacation plan. And that's okay. That's where your appointment reminders come in. So one of the things I highly encourage is when you move your vehicle to waiting for pickup, you're going to get a pop-up window, which is what we call as your next appointment. In this pop-up window, it allows you to secure the next visit and also educate yourself as a service advisor, in addition to your motorist, when they're going to be due for their next service and what information, or excuse me, what services are due. So for example, if in fact, let's say your customer has a recommended service, and you want to remind them about that in 14 days, you can schedule a reminder call here, and it will go into your call campaigns, and we'll talk about that shortly. Now, this is going to let you know what their annual mileage is. We do driver calculations. We want to know how many miles on average they drive per year so we can identify when they're going to approach the next interval they're due for. So what you see is here is their annual mileage, the configured interval. 37,000 miles, 3,700 miles or 6 months, whatever come first. It's going to determine when they're due for their next oil change. Down here is going to let you know based on their driving pattern and the interval that's set for this motorist, when they're due for their next oil change. In addition to that, you're going to see if there's any recommendations and where they're coming from, inspection results or point of sale system. In this area here, what you're going to see is what services are due, when they're due, and you have the ability of exit scheduling. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into a live environment, and we're going to take a look at this together. So number one is you will get a pop-up window. Nonetheless, if you close that out, you can still click on next appointment to access. Inside of here, and give me one moment, I'm actually going to choose a different one. We're going to look here. And what you're going to see here is number one is all customer information. Again, we have the miles here, the configured interval. One of the things you can do is you can override the system. If in fact this customer needs to come in sooner or later than 6,000 miles in 6 months, you can come in here and change it. When you change the interval, what's going to happen is this due date will automatically change too. So if you decide to override the system, keep in mind, it will stay like that forever unless you change it again. The other thing you have in here is it's showing you point of sale recommendations that are coming from the point of sale system. We talked a little bit about making sure that what we're putting in the system makes sense to our customers. Personally, I don't know what DIP is. Maybe our motorists don't either. This is a good example of making sure that we are very clear and we're speaking to the layman, the person that might not understand what DIP means as a recommendation. Why? So they come back in. If in fact there's any recommendations from inspection results, inspection results would be equivalent to immediate attention items, or future recommendations are going to be in here as well. Couple things you can do. Number one is if in fact the service is not valid, you do not want to remind your customer about it, unselect it. This will remove it from the reminder. If in fact you want to select a different due date, you want your customer to come in sooner or later, come in here, change your due date. Use your calendar and or select 30, 60, 90 days. Next, can we exit schedule? If so, what you need to do is, this is a toggle switch. This yellow box that says next R means next reminder, and you can see all of the check marks around a reminder. If in fact we can exit schedule, click here. It's going to turn it this turquoise color. It's going to put an A, and now our check marks is on appointment reminder. You can click schedule and schedule your appointment. If in fact you are scheduling an appointment through your point of sale system, my recommendation would be not to exit schedule here, to take the due dates and put that information directly in your point of sale system. Now, the other thing that I will caution you on is one of the most successful ways to exit schedule with your customer is to simply let them know your next service is going to be due on October 26th. I would like to get you scheduled for this. They're probably going to say, yeah, I'm not sure. It's okay. Let them know we're going to send you 2 service reminders. Appointment reminders. If that day and time does not work for you, please give us a call and we can reschedule that. So please, please, please try and secure your next appointment and exit schedule. Now, we also talked a little bit about your conversation center. The conversation is a bi-directional email and text tool that's fully integrated with your point of sale system in addition to AutoVitals. You can launch your conversation center a few different ways. Number one is you can access it by clicking directly here on your menu bar and going to Conversation Center. Second way, you can access it directly by coming in here and clicking on your incoming or unseen messages. And then the third way I will show you as an example on a tile. So let's check this out. If we come to our Today's Vehicle page, first way is we can click here and go to Conversation. This is going to bring us directly into our Conversation Center. The other way is if we want to specifically just look at incoming messages, click on Incoming Messages, or if you want to see any messages that have been sent by either AutoVitals or yourself that we do not detect your customer has opened and read yet, you can click here for Unseen. Now, as you can see here on the Conversation Center, anytime there's an incoming message from your customer, you're going to have an icon that looks just like this on your tile. Any icon like this on your tile, you can click directly on, and it will again open up that individual message for you for that motorist, just like this. Okay? And give you the information to see it. One of the cool things is when we talk about this being bi-directional, I sent this customer a message. Okay? Now, if she replied to me, I can hop directly in here and I can reply right back. So all incoming communications from your motorist can be seen here and replied to here. There really is not a need for you to access your guys' email any longer regarding AutoVitals. Everything's directly in here for you. You can send and receive communication. In addition to that, we want to make sure you guys are aware that your customers can manage their communications in addition to you. I highly recommend when that you are discussing the inspection process and or retention communications with your motorist, you identify the preferred method of communication. Why? It eliminates chasing. So what you have here is you have the ability of setting the preferences for your motorist based on what they're telling you. In addition, they do as well. Every communication we send out to your motorist gives them the ability of selecting their preferred method. What you'll see here is there's 3 different methods: request and updates, and you can see we have information here that would apply to the first set of switches. Regular vehicle health and progress updates, your retention communications, you can see here, that would control these toggle switches. And then for all of your smart flow and notifications, that would be under critical messages. During visit, those are here, and these toggle switches communicate and control that. We also have a CAN job scheduler. There's 2 ways that you can customize and set this up. To me, this is extremely important. Why? This gives you the ability to set up your own maintenance schedule. This is based on CAN jobs, or let's say service packages if you're a protractor user. This again allows you to configure and tell us when we should remind your motorist to come in for those additional maintenance items. The goal of the retention program is to provide top-of-mind awareness, branding, and increase your visit frequency. Get those motorists in sooner rather than later and more frequent. So how you access this CAN job scheduler would be from your Today's Vehicle page. Again, this menu bar is going to be where you access everything. You're going to come in here and you're going to go to Settings. From Settings, once this loads for us, we're going to go into Inspection Settings. You're going to go to your Shop Management tab. And right here gives you the ability to click on your CAN job scheduler. This again is up top. It's going to let you know how many CAN jobs you've already configured for your maintenance items. And you can click here and it will show you the 2 you've done. And then how many else or how many others you have. Now I'm going to really quickly show you how you can configure. So for example, you can select what interval you want to send or create that CAN job for that maintenance table. Then you're going to tell me, does it apply to all vehicles or specific makes and models by coming in here. Okay. Now, one of the things you can also do is, let's say that, for example, you have this CAN job is going to be configured for Hondas, Toyotas, and I don't know, Hyundais, right? But you want to also set up one for maybe your European vehicles. You can come in here, hit this plus sign. What it's going to do is when you hit that plus sign is it's going to give you the ability to have another option to where you can use that same CAN job and configure a different interval for different makes and models. My recommendation would be to focus on maybe your top 10 maintenance services that you want to create your tables for reminders. And then from there is when you're exit scheduling, one of the things you have the ability of doing is you can come in here and you can see your CAN jobs. You can click on change due date and you can start to build your CAN jobs directly through here for your maintenance table. You can select your interval. You can at that point then let us know, should this interval and CAN job only apply to this vehicle, to all vehicles that are the same type, or to every vehicle in my database. We also offer a loyalty points program. Again, this is only available for folks that have our full package. Service advisors, it's really important that you communicate to your customers how many points they have. Yes, AutoVitals will absolutely tell them that they have points available and what they can redeem them for on every communication we send out. Nonetheless, it's really important to make sure you also communicate what rewards are available. Number one is we will show you an icon if there's points available to be redeemed. Secondly, when you click on that icon, it will open up. You have this tab for loyalty points. It will show you the current balance and you can accept or adjust points directly through here. If in fact you want more information regarding loyalty points, you can go to help.autovitals.com, type in loyalty points in the search bar. You will have a blog that gives you directions and instructions on how to use loyalty points. In addition to that, you will find a recorded webinar that gives you instructions there as well. Call campaigns is another feature that is manual for you. However, it's also only available for our shops that have our full package. call campaigns, like you can see here, it really helps you guys personalize your communication. We recommend you come in here and you, especially if you're slow, make some calls, right? Mostly make sure you guys are doing your thank you follow-up calls. Our system will predefine these lists for you. You have two different areas here. Number one, you can reach out to people who have a visit that is due or overdue. We are going to tell you who it is, what vehicle it is, how to contact them, what services are due, and yes, you can schedule directly through here as well. In addition to that is you can contact people who had a recent visit. Thank you follow-up calls, again, are super important. Make sure your customers know that you appreciate their business. We're also checking to make sure that those services have been performed and our customers are happy to eliminate comebacks. Everything in here can be configured and refined based on your liking and how you want to make those calls. One of the things that I had mentioned is when you are exit scheduling, you have the ability of scheduling yourself a reminder callback. If you utilize this section, those calls will come into your call campaign section, and what it will do is that will list it here who requests a callback. Now, one of the things that you will see here is in this area where it has follow-up, this is telling you what services are due and giving you information and where you can also schedule. Inside of here, what you can see is customer information, vehicle that's due, what's due, that Google Calendar so you know where your availability is to schedule, and you can schedule up here. Now, we're going to move forward, and now we're going to create a custom, template-based campaign. So a couple things I highly recommend is for every shop that's using retention that you guys create a reoccurring lost customer and new customer campaign. Why? You should be targeting customers that are in limbo, that are starting to slip away, and get back in front of them and try and recapture business before it leaves. In addition to that, thank those new customers that are coming in for the higher probability to let them know, again, you appreciate their business, to see if we can get them in for an additional visit, retaining our new business in addition to our existing. So what I would like to do is show you how you can access this, and I would really appreciate that we walk through this and you guys create a campaign with me as well. To access your campaign manager from your today's vehicle page, your menu, you're going to click on your menu bar, CRM menu. From there, what you're going to do is you're going to click on Campaign Manager. Inside of here is where you're going to have the ability of doing all of your campaigns for information or promotions to drive an additional business. Really quickly, I talked about a campaign manager earlier, a brand manager, which gives you the ability of customizing all of your communication. Super simple. Click in here. We have your banner up here. All you need to do is click through where it says new color palette, and it's going to change your communications based on different color schemes within your banner. Once you find one that you like, you should go through and check these 5 items here. Look through them. Make sure you like all of them. If you do, you save your color palette. That's going to be what your communications now look like. I'm going to launch a poll really quickly. Please let me know, if you guys do not mind, when you have your campaign manager set up and ready to go so we can get going. All right, it looks like we have a good majority of you guys in there, so we're going to get started for timing purposes here. So a couple things. Number one, to create a campaign, you're going to go to Create New Campaign. Inside of here, what you'll see is we have some templates that we automatically create on your behalf. In addition to that, is you have the ability of creating your own. If in fact you create your own campaign and you save it, you will always have access to it in here to use it for future usage. For today's purposes, we're going to create a lost customer campaign. You're going to click on lost customer campaign, and what's going to happen is, in all reality, we have just created an audience we want to target, and your complete campaign is ready if there's no changes you want to make. So literally within a minute, we automatically have a campaign created. We can click on Preview Campaign, and you can see what your text looks like, what your email looks like as soon as this loads for us, and also what the landing page looks like, and I'll explain that for you. So what we're going to do is, please do me a favor and click back on template and audience here. What you're going to see is number one is, first thing we're going to look at is our audience. Is this time frame applicable? Do I like this? If not, change your dates. Change your visits or the months. You can alter and, change what we have here. Once you're comfortable with what audience list you have, or you can come in here and build your own or change one of these other lists. If you want to add in more vehicle criteria, you can click here as well. There's some more options. So if I wanted to say, you know what, let's target people that haven't been in for 6 months, that have spent, $200 or more, you can do that. As you can see, this is spinning and changing and updating my audience list in real time. Once I have everything refined, you can click View and Edit. What this is going to do is show you every customer in alphabetical order by first name, who in fact we're going to target. If there's a specific customer or vehicle you do not want to market to, you can take action here. I personally always ignore fleet vehicles. They don't generally like this communication. If you want to exclude just a vehicle, click here. If in fact you want to exclude the whole customer, click on the second option and it will exclude the whole customer. Once you do this, if you make any changes, make sure you update your list. Now, once we have our audience refined, if you need to export that for future usage or just to see at a better view, you can export here, but we're going to move on. The next thing we're going to do is check out our text message. Do I like what's in here? If not, make a change. Maybe you want to offer them $20 off versus 20% off. You can make any changes or alterations here. As you can see, it immediately takes place on this side and updates. If for some reason you don't want to do a text campaign, you have a toggle switch that allows you to turn it on and off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hop over. You can click up here to email or you can click next. At this point in time, because we used a template, again, it's all built for us. If you want to change anything, make your changes in here. Otherwise, if you love it, you like it, leave it alone. A couple things you have. Inside of here, you can include vehicle information. What that means is if you're looking at this campaign here, you have a vehicle summary. If you want a summary, you can leave it. If you do not want it, change your toggle switch. Now it's just going to have your wording. It removes that for you. You also have the ability of including an offer. You can create your own coupon. If so, you can, upload it here, or you can use our coupon creator. You can click Edit Coupon or Add One here. For example, I changed this offer to $20 off, so I simply can come in here, put my $20 off, and we're done. Make sure you have your disclaimer, your details. You can change and update an expiration date. Once you're good with what we have here, we're going to save and close it. As you can see, because we made that change here, it's already making our change here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a campaign page. One of the things for you guys to know, anytime we send out communication, whether it's an email or a text, there's always going to be a link for the motorist to click on here, or in the email, review all. When we take action, what will take place is when they click, it's going to open up this campaign landing page, which is this web-based page that's responsive to the device. You can have it be identical to your email page, which it is by default, or you can, again, make changes. The other thing you have is now you have the ability, again, include vehicle information. In this case, it's going to show them their vehicle and what items are due. Sometimes it's a good idea to keep this in here, because if I have a customer that hasn't been been back in my shop and I want to offer them, some money to come back, they can correlate what they can spend that money with based on what's due on their vehicle. But again, if you don't want that, just turn that off. It's going to remove that for you. The next thing you can do is you have the ability to have up to 3 different coupons or images. You can also choose what one of the 3 would be the primary. Once we have that done, we're going to determine, do we schedule this for today, a future date, or do we make it reoccurring? So you can do a one-time campaign, an automated campaign. If we're going to do an automated campaign, we can choose when we want it to launch, how often, how many times, does it notify me before it goes out? So if I want to make changes, I can. Those are your options here. If it's going to be a one-time campaign, we're simply going to just select when we want it to go, and we're going to hit next. One thing, if you create your own and you want to save a template right here, it's going to say, do you want to reuse this? Select yes, hit save template, hit save again, and then you can reuse what you've created in the future. At this time, you're going to preview, again, this communication, and that you should always send yourself a test. So please do me a favor and let's send ourselves a test. In order to send a test, you have to select a motorist. The communication's not going to that motorist. However, you have to select somebody. So I'm going to select my motorist. You're going to enter in your cell phone number if you're doing text, in addition to your email. Why? You want to make sure you like the presentation of what you've built. In addition to that, you want to make sure that all of the links are working. Can I click to schedule an appointment? Can I go to my website? You will just be cautious, make sure it's presentable. We're going to hit send. Once we send ourselves a sample, again, look through it. Today, we're going to look at a text message. So what I did is I just sent off a text message. Here is an example of what it looks like. When I click on this text message, here's my message and what we've created. And if I want to see more information, I'm going to click right here, which again is going to open up that landing page we talked about. And here is my offer. Click to make sure we can schedule, right? Make sure we can call, email. Does it go to my website? Do your due diligence. Once we're done with that, we like it, we love it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back in here. Excuse me, let me find it. Here we go. We're going to hit next, and this is when we're going to launch it. When you go to launch your campaign, first and foremost, you have a summary. It's going to let you know who you're going to target, how many, and what communication, text, email, or both. When it's going, what's going, text, email, landing page. Once we're done, we're going to launch. Pretty super simple. Again, you can have this done in a matter of minutes, or you can spend a lot of time and customize it, whatever is best suited for you. Again, my recommendation would be to set up a lost customer and new customer reoccurring campaigns. If you're not sure how to do that, please discuss and see that with your product advisor, and they can get you all taken care of. At this point in time, we're going to take the last few minutes to go over how you guys can find and locate any reviews that come through AutoVitals and where you can reply. And we're also going to cover where you can locate your reporting. First and foremost, for reviews, if you ever get a negative review through AutoVitals, your product advisor and trainer will send you an email with that information. You have 30 days to redeem that review and contact the customer. If you're able to get the customer satisfied, you can send them out a second request for a rating and review, which will override the initial negative. Now, if somebody leaves you a negative review that is anonymous, we will tell you who gave you, we will let you know what that review content is. However, we will not publish that. Why? We don't know who it is to resolve it, nor do you. Okay, so again, any negative reviews, you have 30 days to resolve, and that information will come directly from your product advisor. Now, the way you can access your reviews is if you go from your Today's Vehicle page, and again, you click on your retention menu. What it's going to do is inside of here is what you're going to open up. Your reviews are going to be listed right here on the right-hand side. Where it says recent reviews, you're going to click on it. These are going to show you the recent reviews for the past 6 months always. You can say the date, who gave you the review, what the comment is, the star rating, and then we do ask permission to publish your reviews. As you can see here, this gal or gentleman He loves the shop, but he did not give us permission to publish. Therefore, it's internal only, but we will not publicize this to the public. Now, if you want to reply to reviews, and I highly recommend you do, you're going to click on reply. You're going to type in your message here and hit submit. This is going to be how you reply back. And then lastly, what we're going to cover is the reporting system. We do highly recommend that you guys utilize the business control panel for reporting. I will show you how you can get logged into that through your today's vehicle page menu. And then a couple things that you're going to see that are really, to me, is a highlight: retention response rate, first time returning customers, our lost customer rate, and if in fact you're creating any campaigns, what those response rates look like. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that together. First and foremost, how you access that is from your today's vehicle page. You're going to go to BCP Shop Meeting. It's going to ask you to log in with your Google account, which is what we call your fail-safe. If you're not sure what your credentials are, please ask your product advisor. They will let you know. You can find it, as you can see through this sample right here. If you go into inspection settings, shop management, you will be able to see your fail-safe settings here as well. Some of you guys have your passwords protected. If you see stars, again, reach out to your product advisor and trainer and they can assist you with getting that done. Now, when you're inside of your business control panel, you're going to select on retention rate. And inside of here, what we're briefly going to show you is number one is this area over here is going to let you know what your trends are. But nonetheless, this percentage is going to let you know how many of your motorists are currently following your maintenance, right? They're coming back in after receiving a service reminder to have a maintenance service completed. Over here, what you're going to see is, of course, you're going to see a chart that's going to give you information on your retention rate. And these are all of the influential KPIs that you can access. I'm not going to go through all of them today, but a couple things that you can see is if you're doing a campaign. So for example, the lost customer campaign that we just created, this is going to show you how many folks have came back in and scheduled an appointment based on that campaign you sent, based on the time frame that we're looking at. If you're ever curious how we are calculating this information, hover over the influential KPI and it will show you exactly what we're doing and how we're tracking. So you have appointments scheduled through Campaign Manager. How many appointments on average are your customers scheduling when they're receiving an appointment or a service reminder? Your first time customer ratio. How many of your customers are returning for an additional visit within 12 months? Are you exit scheduling? Are we securing that next visit? If you are exit scheduling through your point of sale system, unfortunately, we cannot track it. We can only track what's being scheduled through Auto Vitals. And then lastly, you can see new customers, your first time returning, and then you can see down here how many customers we've lost total, all time, will last 6 months or 9 months. Your advisor should be using this to walk you through this reporting system, and then I encourage you to go through this as well, at least once a month for retention, so you can kind of identify how things are working or make adjustments if you feel you're not getting the right response rate. Two last things for you before we go, and thank you guys. Apologize, we're running a few minutes behind. Number one is I just want to recap what we've went over. We've talked about items that are completely automatic for you, how new appointments come in, you know, whether they're scheduled in point of sale or through Auto Vitals, what we recommend you do, and how our thank yous work for email and text, schedule appointments, confirm appointments, send appointment reminders, service reminders. Also the items that are manual for you guys. Okay, how you know what's in the call campaigns, loyalty points, how you can communicate via email or text for campaigns to drive an additional business, creating a maintenance table through a CAN job scheduler, and then accessing retention report. The last thing I would like to do is, number one, thank you guys so much for coming. And if you guys could please do me a favor, I would really appreciate some feedback. I'm going to launch a poll based on the webinar today. If you could provide some feedback and answer these questions, that would be greatly appreciated to make sure that we are providing you guys with enough information and training going forward. And again, thank you so much for coming and have a wonderful Friday.